Come together, smooth-faced ones. Today you will learn about our gray cousins, the dwarves of the Underdark. Since the dawn of our proud race, the Morndinsaman have always taught us of the Duergar, our eternal enemy. For ages we grew up on the stories of their cruelty, and we learned that nothing could ever bring joy to their dark hearts except our suffering. But what if I told you that the tale of the Duergar is one of torment and tragedy? In the youngest days of our race, they were once a clan of shield dwarves, then known as Clan Duergar, who ruled the Iron Kingdom of Barraquir, one of the 8 kingdoms in the ancient dwarven empire of Shanatar. Although Barraquir pledged their loyalty to the Emperor, who sat on the Worm-Skull throne, deep down they desired that they would one day rule the Empire. By the end of the Second Spider War, when their king was not selected to sit on the throne, Clan Duergar grew bitter, and the kingdom of Barraquir began to distance themselves from the other realms. It was then that miners of Clan Duergar shared a dream, a never-ending stream of iron and gold unknown to any dwarf that could be found in the depths of the Underdark. It was a dream no dwarf could resist. And so, Clan Duergar focused their energy on a new purpose: to excavate the Underdark. The miners insisted that the riches they sought were just within reach. Persistence turned into obsession, and it spread through their entire clan like a plague. As the endeavor grew, more hands were brought in from home to join in Clan Duergar's grand excavation. Soon, not a single dwarf was spared from tending their forges, serving their temples, manning their posts, or guarding their cities. Every dwarf of Clan Duergar was tunneling, hacking, or mining, all in search of the impossible. The work, often unforgiving and unbridled, eventually took its toll. The old and the weak were the first to die from exhaustion. Then the tough ones dropped their picks. Soon, all that remained of Clan Duergar were the strongest, the ones who could survive in the deep Underdark. Around the time of the Second Spider War, underneath the Shining Plains, they finally struck gold. Or so they thought. Instead of finding the riches that were promised to them, they found that they had dug a path to Orendal, city of lore takers. It is told that the Mind Flayers had laid a trap for them, exploiting the greed of Clan Duergar, with the elder brain of the kingdom sending out subtle signals to draw the dwarves in. Isolated from the rest of the Shanatar, no reinforcements were sent. Clan Duergar quickly fell and were enslaved by the Illithids. With their new slaves, the Mind Flayers launched an invasion on Shanatar, and so began the Mindstalker Wars. This war of cloven thoughts lasted for 20 years, but when it was over, every survivor of Barraquir was captured and enslaved. This marked the end of the Iron Kingdom and the beginning of the dark transformation of Clan Duergar. For the next 4 millennia, Clan Duergar were subjected to the punishing labors set by their taskmasters. But the Illithids had even grander plans for their slaves. Due to the natural resistance of all dwarves, they were the perfect specimens for the Illithids to test out the effects of dangerous poisons and drugs, natural or otherwise. Countless experiments, grafts, mutilations, torture, and pain were inflicted upon them, gradually showing results as the dwarves became less and less than their ancestors. As time passed, dwarves of Clan Duergar were born with grayer skin, pale hair, and bodies that were more resistant to the substances used on them by their masters. At some point, we stopped using the name Clan Duergar and started calling them Duergar, the Grey Dwarves. But their destiny did not end there. During this despair, a warrior named Ladeguer started an uprising and sought to free his people from slavery. He dreamed that once he had freed the Duergar, he would lead them upward so that they might return to their abandoned kingdom. Around the time of the founding of Amarindar, Ladeguer's rebellion led to freedom, and thus their quest for home began. When Ladeguer and the Duergar had returned to their old halls, they were not met with the warm welcome they had expected. Since Clan Duergar descended into the realm below, the priests of Moradin and Shanatar had decreed Clan Duergar a lost tribe. Their absence from their home and temples meant that Clan Duergar had strayed from the ways of the Morndinsaman and condemned themselves to eternal damnation. No longer having the blessing of the Allfather, the Duergar were no longer recognized as dwarves, and thus did not deserve to be part of the Dwarven Empire. Distress soon turned to disappointment, and Ladeguer led his people back into the Underdark, not as slaves anymore, but as a new people to forge their own destiny. For the slight that they were shown by the dwarves, and knowing that they would never have the good grace of Moradin, Ladeguer defied Moradin and declared war on all the stout folk and their creator. Ladeguer's goal? To dethrone Moradin and take his place. The Duergar spread north to establish their own kingdoms in the upper Underdark of the Orsround Mountains and to the caverns beneath the Great Glacier. About a millennium and a half after the founding of Gracklstock, Duerra, the daughter of Ladeguer and queen of the Duergar civilization of Underspire, launched an attack on the remnants of a failing Shanatar. A series of wars called the Kin Clashes lasted for 50 years, and all but one of the Shanatar kingdoms fell. As a reward for her efforts, the blessed daughter of Ladeguer rose to godhood as Deep Duerra. To this day, the enmity between Dwarf and Duergar is still intense, but it is now more a war of attrition. Peace and reconciliation between us would be impossible, for as long as both sides refuse to find the fault, no one will take the first step. And knowing the temperament of the stout folk, they would rather die than admit disgrace. But one day, I hope that you will see all the children of Moradin united again.